All right, everybody, we're going to go through the answers to the Chapter 17 review questions, Part 2. There are a few multiplication questions, and then the last one involves knowing how to find something on the periodic table and knowing what the periodic table can tell us about an element. So let's take some time to go through these to help you prepare for Thursday's quiz. On Thursday's quiz, you're going to be able to access all of your notes. All right. You will not need to go to Lockdown Browser. You're going to be able to access all of your notes. So make sure you have good notes taken. You've seen all the videos and all of this kind of thing. I went through this with the first review packet or review questions on Chapter 17 as well. Be sure you go over that. All right, so let's start going through this. Number one, with two exceptions, hydrogen and helium, how many electrons make up a completely full outer energy level for every atom? And the answer to that is D. It is 8. There are 8 electrons in a completely full outer energy level for every atom. Now, two exceptions are hydrogen and helium because they fill up the first energy level. There are only 2 electrons that can fit in the first energy level. But all the others, we say that you have a completely full outer energy level when you have 8 in there. Now, you're going to learn in 11th grade in chemistry class that that's not exactly true. It's mostly true for the purposes that that question is intended. 8. And there's even a rule called the octet rule, like an octagon with 8 sides, octet, 8. But it, of course, as you can imagine, gets a little more complicated than that. But for now, the correct answer is 8. Number 2, how many dots would you draw in a Lewis dot diagram around an element that has 4 valence electrons? Now, you probably read that and thought, oh, this must be a trick question. That's way too easy. Nope, it is just that easy. If there are 4 valence electrons, there are 4 dots around that chemical symbol. Now, if you haven't reviewed the video that I asked you to watch, I think it was earlier this week on drawing dot diagrams, please do. Please do watch that video to help you practice for the quiz on Thursday. Number 3, oxygen, O on the periodic table. Oxygen has how many valence electrons? If you look up oxygen on the periodic table, you will find that it is at the top of group 16, which means it has 6 valence electrons. If you count columns or groups from the left, it's in the 6th group from the left, and that means it has 6 valence electrons. So the answer is C. C is the answer for number 3. Number 4, find the atom with 14 electrons on your periodic table. How many valence electrons does it have? If you take a look at your periodic table, you will find that the atom with 14 electrons is in the 4th group from the left. It's right below carbon on the periodic table. Silicon is the name of the atom. And because it is in that group, it has 4 valence electrons. All right. Number 5, find the atom with 16 electrons on your periodic table. How many electrons does it have in its innermost energy level? Now, that was not a trick question because I put in parentheses, hey, not outermost, but you did have to read the question and not just kind of get stuck in the same way of answering the questions. And that's important on a test. You got to actually read the question and answer the question that's being asked. Find the atom with 16 electrons on your periodic table. How many electrons does it have in its innermost energy level? Well, the answer to that is 2. Because with 16 electrons, it has at least 2, and there are always 2 in a completely full first innermost energy level. All right. There'd be 6 in the outermost energy level, but that's not what this question asks. The innermost energy level can only fit 2. So the answer is A. The answer number 5 is A. All right. All right, let's take a look at number 6. So for this, you absolutely need to have your periodic table. I wish I could figure out how to get two screens up at the same time on this screen so that I could show this to you while we're doing it. But you should have your periodic table in your hand. Um, but take a look at that if you haven't. And Adam is in period 3 and group 17. So period 3 is the third row down. So the first period is just hydrogen and helium. The second period starts with lithium. And the third period starts with sodium, Na. So if you go across in that sodium row, Na, go all the way across one group from the end, the far right, but one in from the far right. And you'll see that Cl is the element symbol and chlorine is the element name. So the element name and symbol is chlorine Cl. Okay. How many available valence electrons does it have? In that group, in that column, everything has 7 valence electrons. Okay. The energy level those valence electrons are in the third energy level. That's what period 3 means, that the valence electrons are in the third energy level. Name one other element in the periodic table it is most likely to be similar to. And any one of the elements in that column is an element that it's most likely to be similar to. So fluorine, bromine, iodine, any of those. All right. So that is the answer to number 6. All right. So hopefully you did very well on that. If you didn't, review, double check your periodic table, make sure you can answer questions like this about your periodic table. Go back and review the first review sheet, or at least my answers to the first review sheet. I put a video on that last week. And then review all the other videos and readings that you did to review for chapter 17. So the quiz, again, make sure that you have your notes ready to help you take the quiz. It is not on Lockdown Browser, but you should also definitely review the learning targets at the top of the Unit 3 folder. The learning targets for Chapter 17 involve, and I highlighted in red the ones you don't have to know. So the ones that you do need to know for this quiz are the ones not highlighted. So if you see it highlighted in red, that means we didn't cover that and we're not going to cover that. All right, go ahead and review this. You can replay this anytime you want. You can replay any of the others. I'll have an update tomorrow morning to remind you of some of the key things. You don't have to take the quiz tomorrow. You can take it Friday, you can take it Monday, you can take it anytime over the weekend. Don't take the quiz till you're ready. But do review your worksheets. Do review the videos I've created for you. Do review your readings from the chapter, and that'll help you very much. All right, take care, everybody.